Awesome. So again, welcome to our Coffee with DC. We're super excited to talk about a destination that's really just so unique and really special. We're so proud to be able to operate in Cuba and have been operating trips there for almost a decade. But for those of you who maybe are on this call and do not know about Discover Core, and this is your first introduction to us, we have been operating in over 20 different countries at the moment, offering these sort of vacations with purpose. So all of our destinations are really different. But what's unique about Cuba is we have so many different trips that we're going to talk about. We have many itineraries that really allow you to explore Cuba in the way that you want to see, right? So rather more nature focused or more heavy on the culture and music side. We have just an amazing director, Dayron, here, who I will give introductions to in a second, who helps us create these experiences on the ground. And yeah, just really, really thrilled to have you on the call, Dayron, today. So I'll give a quick introduction to myself. I'm today's host. I'm also a travel specialist with Discover Corps. I have had the privilege of traveling with the company more recently to, Cuba, also Alaska, Mexico, Peru. But I have been traveling myself since a young person, and I currently live in Costa Rica, but I am originally from Canada. So really wonderful to have you all on the call today, and now I'll pass it over to my colleague Claudia to give an introduction to what she does with Discover Core.
Thank you, Lynn. Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia. I'm the pre-departure specialist, which means that before your trip, I know you might have a lot of questions about Cuba, what to bring, do you need a visa or not? I'm the person who's going to talk to you via email or via call to help you through that process. I'm from Brazil, so you will hear a lot of accents here today. I think that's the beauty of Discover Core. I had the pleasure to visit Cuba a year ago, so March 24, and it was amazing. So I'm happy to, be here today so I can share a little bit more about my experience. Thank you, Lynn.
No, thank you, Claudia. And Dayron, please give an introduction to yourself and how long have you been coordinating trips in Cuba?
Hi everyone. Hi, Dayron. It's my name. I have been working with Discovery Core like closely related since 2000. I would say 17 or something like that, a long time ago. And I'm Cuban. I graduated from English. I taught at the university. Then I became a tour guide, and that's how I met people from Discovery Core. And ever since, we've had a very close relationship. We've been close friends. We were friends before, like being business partners, and now we're business partners in addition to friends. As a Cuban, I'm very thankful of the things and the way in which Discovery Core portrays their trips and how they see and appreciate Cuba and its people. For me, that it's very gratifying, and pretty much I'm very happy to work with you guys. And every day I'm very happy to see what you do and how you do it. Yeah, thank you very much for that.
Oh, thank you, Dayron. It was so cool for everyone on the call. We actually, a few years ago, got to bring the whole team, including some of the sister companies and some members from our board, to Cuba. So we were, I think, 80 people, right, Dayron? That you had to host us all, around 80 or just under
Quite a
80?
lot, quite a lot,
Yeah,
quite a lot. Yes.
quite, yeah, enough. But we all got
Yeah,
to experience
yeah, that
the
was a lot.
amazing vibrancy of the island and be hosted by Dayron and meet our guides and everything. So yeah, just really excited to talk to everyone about our Cuba portfolio. So I wonder, Dayron, if you can kind of walk us through the 6 itineraries that you have helped us build. Just really high level. We'll go into some more detailed questions, but it would be great if you could, yeah, walk us through.
Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, the thing is that we wanted to have a comprehensive idea, like our travelers to have comprehensive ideas of Cuba. And people, they would have different views and purpose. Like at first, we wanted to get an understanding of what they liked and they are what they wanted to perceive and what they like to experience, their hobbies and everything. So based on that, on travelers' experience, we developed these tours. So we have like the celebration of arts and cultures that is mostly oriented to arts. And they get to meet dancers, they get to meet musicians, they get to meet painters directly. This one is fascinating if you're interested in these things. But in addition to that part, they leave Havana. So they go to Havana and they visit the west a little bit of Havana, but they also visit Trinidad and Cienfuegos, that are amazing provinces that are very distinct. Because Cuba, yeah, it's an island, very small, but it's very extremely different. Every single city and province is very different from one another. Every one of them is distinct. So yeah, that we wanted to incorporate that one, like a more comprehensive view of Cuba into the celebration of arts and cultures. For the preserving natures, we wanted to, or wonders, we wanted to orient it towards people that are more into, then again, to nature. Like, so we do like bird watching, and we have our guides that are specialized, and we go into the mountains, we go to Las Terrazas, we go to Viñales, that are biosphere reserve and World Heritage. Amazing, fascinating places. They get involved, they get related with the different crops, different birds, the native bird that lives in Cuba, who live in Cuba only. They also go to the beach, which is very nice, so they can actually experience what the beach is like, pretty much. Then we wanted to build something for the people that wanted to do some volunteering, and that's how we have the building bridges, the grassroots trip. That one we stay at a community project, and we help in that community project. It's a fascinating history of the community project. They had it was like a dumpster, and then they recover it, and then they made it a project for kids, and they constantly are like cleaning the neighborhood, painting, doing activities for the kids. So that was what the travelers contribute. And in addition, we also stay in that community. The family island, of course. Then we needed to do something for the kids, specifically for the kids. And we have this family island, like very short trip, only 5 days or 5 nights. The other was usually 8, 7 nights. This one is shorter, but it's less driving. It's mostly focused in Havana, while the others are always traveling to other provinces, like the building bridges also goes to Trinidad. The family island stays in Havana and goes to the next province, to the beach area, that is Varadero. But that one, then again, it's oriented for kids. We do like either a paint workshop where they learn how to paint, or they learn how to do some craftsmanship with a very accomplished artist in Cuba. We visit dance schools. We visit kids projects, and it's a more leisure type of trip. We visit in all of our trip, we visit academies, for example, dance academies. So we always have to tell the dance academy that we visit the approximate age group sometimes, especially if we have kids. Because if we have kids, then they find kids in the academy to perform for them. So they see a closer relationship. If they are teenagers, we'd get all the kids, and so on and so forth. And then we have the Havana weekend getaway, also a great trip. Short. This is for people that they don't have much time. They want to go over the weekend. Havana is very close from here. They just go from Thursday to Sundays. They do a lot of things. This one is short, but it is packed. It's not like you go and leisure and relax. It's packed. You do a lot of things. You go to Viñales, that is the like the Garden of Cuba, and they are in Havana. They see things about music, architecture, culture. This one is very interesting as well. And then, of course, we have the jazz festival. That one is totally oriented towards jazz. This one is a lot of music, because we get to meet, not only do we get to meet like famous jazz players, we get to talk to them, like meet them, like get to talk to them. How are you? Sometimes we invite them to dinner. They come with us, with our travelers. We have lectures about Cuba, history of Cuban music, or history of Cuban jazz. Lectures are extremely fascinating because they are very interactive, And it's usually by a jazzist, and that they are like, they perform, they show you the rhythms. You getting and you go to the jazz performances every night. We get the program, and then we get a specialist in jazz, that is a jazz players themselves, that they tell us what they would recommend. So we choose where to go. We get our credentials, that is prime credentials. So we have assigned seating in every one of the activities that we go. And it's fascinating. At the end of the trip, you don't even know that the 5 nights have passed. It's amazing. You keep wanting more. Pretty much, we have other trips, but these are the main ones, the one that we run
Mhm.
like every year. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. No, I know
Fascinating.
we've
Every
done.
one of them, you get to know the people, you get to know the culture, you get to know the history, which is
Mhm.
fascinating.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's so awesome because there really is like a choose your own adventure style for our portfolio in Cuba. There's really something for everyone. And I know we have also done some trips beyond this for sure, but this is our really solid trips that we've been operating and running and what we're really excited to offer to you all. So you've touched on it a little bit when it comes to like, of course, engaging with the culture and everything, but what are some other like standout experiences for people to expect when going to Cuba? By the way, I used all of these photos from my trip, so these are recent
I
photos from
recognize them.
yeah.
Um, well, yeah, the most importantly is the people contact that you get, is the people experience. You're not going to be on the bus with the guide unaware of what is going on. You're going to talk to the people, our guides, they know what our projects are. So they talk to the people, you get to know them everywhere that you go. You stop in the middle of the road to talk to a guy that is with a pair of oxen, like plowing the land or something, like anything. We don't want those things to be planned. We want them to be like natural. So they would do it whenever they see something, they would kind of do it. That would be the main thing, like the people contact that we get. We stay with family houses. We get to talk to them. We get to know the people. We get to know the actual things about Cuba, not the good things about Cuba, not the bad things about Cuba, but the reality told by the Cuban people who actually live there. Um, we do care a lot about the Cuban people. So we help the community substantially. You will see that we receive sometimes donation from our travelers, and they themselves they give it away to the people. We have local staff all the time. We go to private restaurants, so all the experience is directly private. It's not connected with the Cuban government and at all. So we that makes it a added. It provides a different value to the activity that we do because it's actually somebody working for what they do, what they have, and to talk about their history and the world. So that people contact for me is the one that links all those trips and the ones that makes it very different from one another.
No, thank you for that. It really is just so you can't help but get stopped in the street and just talk to people and just feel that like openness, from everybody. And it is very unique. It feels like people connect on a different level in Cuba. Um, and you mentioned this about, community and everything, and it is a big part of our experiences. Can you share a little bit more about the volunteer activities included, specifically in the building bridges, and Claudia as well? I know you got to visit the project briefly when you were there, so you can also jump in if you have anything else to add.
Yeah. Um, well, the community then again, it's very important for us. We do visit the building bridges, but it's not like a day visit or something. Like we stay there. We stay in their accommodations. That the accommodations, the casas, the homes that they have there, they have not the highest standards because they are like in a community that is not in the center of the city. So not many tourists go there. Pretty much,
Mhm.
like mostly, I would say like 90% of, I don't want to run numbers, but like Discover Core is the one that mostly goes to these casas, the one that stays in these places. So it's the main source of income for these families. And so that provides a very close exchange with these with all the people who live and work for that community. So we get to know every single person. They wake up and they go to work in the community project. So we get to know them, like the person in the kitchen. Well, she lives like 2 blocks away in that house over there. And person cleaning, the person doing this, every single person, it's in the neighborhood. So when our travelers go there, they actually feel part of something. They feel part for those couple of days that they're living there. They feel part of that community. They feel part of it, and that again, that makes that experience quite memorable. In addition, when we go to other places, um, like for example, when we meet a dance company, or when we meet one of the social projects that we do, again, we exchange with them. We ask them about how they are, like where they live, how they get there. So we actually care about who they are. And that brings us closer to the person living in those communities. We get to understand the areas, the neighborhoods a little bit better.
Absolutely. No, and Claudia, just for Morlandio and you getting to visit there, what is there anything that you particularly notice that's unique about that experience for our travelers?
Yeah, I visited the project Moraleando for one afternoon, and I left wishing I had more time because it's just impressive, what they've done, and you have the chance to see, like the paintings, the ceramic, and everything they do. And it's so amazing to see the impact that brings to like kids, right? Like they could
Hmm.
just be on the street or doing whatever during the afternoon, but they actually go to the project and they learn skills and they paint, and they have that community feeling also. So yeah, it was definitely amazing to see, and I definitely left wishing I had spent more time there. And I ate, like, the food there was so amazing, and it was, as Dara mentioned, you meet with the person who's making your food, and it was so delicious. And she sits with you, and she's a local, she's talking to you. So that experience was definitely like an amazing exchange.
Yeah, so it's so beautiful, and the food is, yeah, so unique. And that's actually, I got some leads perfectly into our next question of just, Cuban culture is so vibrant and diverse, and so is the food. And I'm just curious, Dayron, how do our trips ensure that, travelers have this authentic and immersive experience? Again, we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but if you have anything
Oh
else to
no.
add, especially for local cuisine. Hmm.
Oh, definitely, definitely. We have actually not. Yeah. The thing is that, for example, guys, one thing that I like whenever I go back to Cuba, it's eating the food because it doesn't taste like the one in here in the US. Totally different because we don't have like big warehouses. We don't have like big container refrigerators, everything. So everything that you eat there, it's fresh.
Hmm.
And we don't have like big farms. So most of the things or almost everything that you get in Cuba is organic. So it's not like with hormones or anything, nothing like that. So they don't look pretty sometimes. Like look at the bananas, for example. They look different. They're not perfect yellow or something, but they taste amazing. They have
Hmm.
a bland taste. They do taste like something. Then they smell. In Cuba, you
Hmm.
get to used to smelling the fruit, the scent of the fruit before eating it. If it doesn't smell, then don't buy it. But that we get like the fruit, like the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the yams, they're all like the street peddlers. They are like dirty because they still have the soil. It's amazingly, it's very fresh, all very tasty, fresh products. And although we try to diversify the places that we visit, actually we do. Most of the times we want to focus on the local cuisine. We want to go to a Cuban restaurant that is often offering European, French, something cuisine. No, actually, we go to like Cuban cuisines, all the variation that it may have, all the different courses, plates. The fish is amazing. The pork, it's great as well. And yeah, the fruits, everything pretty much is very, very authentic.
I love so many restaurants that we went to. I think especially on our last nights. Just the detail that the chefs put and the inspiration behind their dishes. You can tell like the connection to food is, yeah, it's very deep, right? Because they're having to source, you know, with the climate, with whatever's there, and make these like incredible dishes depending on, you know, what Mother Nature gives them. But that creativity is just so so present, and yeah, so delicious. It's so true that the fruit just tastes different.
Thank you.
Yes. And, you know, we've talked a little bit about this idea of, you know, activating these economies and the fact that these are, you know, privately owned, so it's going, you know, into the hands of local people and everything. Um, you know, what other measures do you feel like we take in Cuba to support these local communities and promote a more responsible form of travel when going to Cuba?
According to the category that we use to go to Cuba is um, support for the Cuban people. So we have to provide a support for the Cuban people, and that is what we do. So the idea behind that, the reasoning behind that, is to help the Cuban people become independent of the government. I don't have to actually rely exclusively on government jobs, which are usually like really, really bad. I mean, they pay very bad. Um, what we do is what we hire the people. We give them a contribution for their effort very handsomely. They are extremely happy to work with us, and we feel that they are actually welcoming every single time we have one of our groups that we contact anybody, either the accommodations or the guys or even the drivers. They come right away running. They cancel any other project with any other company to work with us for us because of how we treat them, and that is helping them directly. We like in some months we have like the full months of trips, and when you like measure, when you take into account the amount of people that we hire, it's quite a significant number because we go
Mhm.
from artists to uh, drivers to performers to people giving lectures, professors of the university from all walks of life, from all sorts, and that actually makes you feel that that you're really helping somebody. Yeah, that makes a big difference.
No, it's true. It's quite a diverse group of people that we're able to support in the type of travel that we do, you know, like you said, from all walks of life, which I love and appreciate. And I'll never forget because we went on the trip right after the pandemic. And we were, if you remember, Dayron, passing around the hat of tips that we had put for the musicians and some of the performers. And when you gave it to them, they were like all in tears,
Yeah.
because it had been so long, you know, of just, you know, having to live with very difficult circumstances, and these little kinds of you know, supports can really make a big difference in people's lives. And I always tell travelers like the best thing you can do is go to Cuba. You know, if you want to support Cuban people, the best thing that you can actually do is just, you know, book a trip, go there, meet them, you know, give these resources to the people. And you know, it's one thing to see or read about it, but it's another thing to like actually live it and meet these people and get to stay in the casas and engage. And that's the type of travel we want to do. We want to go beyond the typical hotels, the typical kind of tourist experience, and create a more traveler experience where you get to actually engage with the local people on a more deeper level.
Yes, I
So for family friendly trips like so the island exploration trip is definitely more built for families, but the other trips can be too. So I'm kind of curious what age range you feel is best suited for the certain trips, and maybe you could walk us through that, Dayron, and if there's any kind of physical demands or considerations for any
yeah, well,
itinerary.
no, we don't. I would say that except in in the nature's wonders, preserving nature's wonders, that you actually walk through the valley. But even walking through the valley is a very gentle walk. It's very leisure. There, other than that, everything else is are on pavement or cobbled streets or something. So they're not demanding. Our trips are not demanding, like physically so far, unless we have a request and then we include some of the mountains or something. Yeah, just as you like you said, all our trips are family oriented, pretty much. On the family trip, yeah, of course, that one we put more components towards
Hmm.
appeasing, like in the kids, like I don't know, snorkeling or beach, or more oriented in that idea. But every one of our trips, they have that, they're oriented, and the kids can go anywhere. We don't have
Hmm.
any age range that we could limit, because I'm sure that they would enjoy, like, for example, they go to Muraleando and there will be people in Muraleando, there will be kids, depending on the time of the year, of course, that they go there. Um, when they go to Trinidad, they will be see the people on the street and everything. Now, if we want, like if we have a group of that, we have a couple of kids and they want contact with Cuban kids, that of course we can accommodate. That we can
Hmm.
accommodate, we can see how we can do it. But for example, the dance company that we mentioned earlier, in that company, it depends. If it goes teenage, if there are teenagers, we get teenage dancers, and then right after
Hmm.
they begin to talk to the person. And sometimes we have invited some of these travelers to eat, some of these dancers to eat with us in our groups.
Hmm.
If it is kids, then again, we have children performing. And then again, we try always to orient the trips towards the traveler, depending on what the traveler requests.
Demographic. Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think just to note the I feel like the Havana Jazz Festival trip is one of the ones that we do have an age requirement just for it's a lot of night activity and we're
Yeah,
going
so
into
how
some
we
clubs. So 16 and older, we have, that requirement. But for the rest of the trips, it's really based on, what your kiddos like to do. So I always on like initial calls with families, I'm like, are your kids more arts and culture oriented or are they more nature lovers? What do you love to do as a family? Like what kind of experiences would you like to share together? And then when what Dayron said, having these opportunities to know the ages of your kids and be able to hopefully curate a more, meaningful trip for you so your kiddo can meet another, 10-year-old or 11-year-old, so that they can see what life, how life is different for that one and connect again on a deeper level. That's what we're all about. And for any sort of physical requirements for anybody that's on the call that is concerned, the best thing to do is just kind of inform us, let us know where you're at physically so that we can ensure that we're fitting you into the right trip and that you're going to have a good experience. Certain trips do have, like Dayron said, some walking on cobblestone roads and everything. So just something to consider. But definitely we're family oriented and a lot of the trips are a great way to spend time with your loved ones and with your kiddos. So, travelers, including me, often mention the warmth and hospitality of the Cuban people. Um, how do you feel like our local guides, specifically, because I feel like we've talked a lot about the community, how do they contribute to that overall experience with, engaging with the
Yeah,
local
but
people?
there is something that I want to mention as well, because sometimes American travelers may be apprehensive, as in Cuba, the United States, how they're going to receive us, how would they welcome us, totally with open arms. You can talk to anybody on the street; they would always treat you in a very good way. They would never give you a bad answer. They would never treat you with disrespect. Uh, they don't know you, but again, they will treat you with the best way possible. And yeah, Lynn, that's what we do. When we have our guides, we don't just hire any guy. We hire a guide and then we give him a training about the things that we do as a company and what we want them to do, and how we want them to be seen and portrayed. So that's what our guys do. They know that it's not just talking about the history of the culture. They have to be noticeable for the care for the community, for the people that they walk through. They cannot just overlook or ignore the people that they see on the streets. They have to be respectful of everybody, and they have to talk to the people. They have to show that humane character, and they do pretty much.
No, absolutely. I also love to share this story, and I share it a lot when I'm on the phones with people. This photo that I included on this slide, we got dropped off. At a kind of central location near a park, and everyone was kind of dispersed in different houses. And so I was walking to my casa alone, and a gentleman stopped me and asked me where I was from. And luckily, I do speak Spanish, so I was able to, have a more in-depth conversation. But he said, like, do you know about this park? It's the John Lennon Park. And I said, no, I don't know much about this park. He's like, I'll give you a tour. And I said, oh, it's okay, He's like, no, 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 ask my boss. Turns out he was a security guard for the hospital. And he said, if you ask my boss, I bet you he'd let me show you around the park. So I go to the boss and I say, hey, he's offering me a free tour around the park. Will you let him go? And the boss says, only if I can get the free tour too. So we both walk around the park, and they tell me all about the history of the park. They, spent a good 20-30 minutes with me. And at the end, I said, like, like, can I tip you or something like that? Give you some cash. And they were, don't offend me. Absolutely not. I offered you this tour for free. I just wanted to show you this park means, this is where we grew up, everything. And in the end, I said, come on, let me give you something. And they said, well, maybe you can buy me a drink. And so we went, we got them a drink, and we shared more, like, history of our families and everything. And it was just like such a reminder to me, like, as a solo female traveler as well, just like I felt super safe. I did not feel threatened at all. In fact, I felt totally embraced, and it was just amazing to again experience that, like, authenticity from local people, that they want to show you their country, they want to show you everything and share all the history and all of the beauty around. So I just love the energy that all Cuban people bring, and like you said, Dayron, that respect is just I feel like it's in your culture, to give that to anyone, and
Oh, Lynn.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, no, no. And actually, we encourage our travelers to do that, to go
Hmm.
out, to talk to people. Of course, like as like the guide, they need to know where the travelers are. But
Yes.
yeah, they're encouraged to go outside on their own. They have free time. Okay, we meet here. You go talk because it's safe. It feels safe. Yeah.
Hmm. Definitely, definitely. And so, what can travelers expect when exploring, cities like Havana compared to more of these like rural or coastal regions? What do you feel like is, like, if somebody's still kind of like in between, oh, should I do more nature, more Havana? What is the kind of feeling that you can describe between these comparisons? Because like you mentioned earlier on, like they're very different.
Oh,
So,
totally. Totally. No,
mhm,
yes, that's what we wanted to. Then again, as an island is extremely varied because of the history of its history and how it has evolved. We have travelers that go merely fascinated by the architecture. We have colonial architecture from the Spanish time. And then again, we have modern architecture in Havana. We have amazing, fascinating Art Deco buildings. But we have Art Nouveau buildings as well. We have neoclassic buildings right in Havana from the 1800s, amazingly well preserved. And then in the 1930s and 40s, we have the Vedado with the Art Deco, very nice, like apartment buildings or government office buildings. But again, very interesting. And then you go to the green part, that is totally different. And you get to see the quietness. We have like 26 birds that only live in Cuba. So endemic birds. And the green color, because that area in Vinales and Las Terrazas, it rains constantly, very often.
mhm.
So the green color is like greener on that side of the fence. It's amazing.
That's
It's
true.
fascinating, the contrast that you go from
Hmm.
big cement blocks to the nature.
Yeah, it is. It's such a contrast. So true. I these photos I took as well, and that little bus stop that we did, it was just like green as long as you can see, you know, it's such a tiny island, but like in comparison, I mean, there's so much diversity, like you said, in nature, in the types of environments and cities, you know, from Trinidad to Las Trazas. I mean, really two different worlds. So you really can experience it all, and we do offer these extension options if you are, you know, doing the Preserving Nature's Wonders trip. It does end in Havana, so you get 2 days, but then you get to, you know, if you want to do Trinidad and Cienfuegos, we have those options, and vice versa, right? If you do the Celebration of Arts and Culture trip and you want to go out, we have this Natural Cuba extension that's kind of a condensed version of the Preserving Nature's Wonders. So you don't have to miss out. If you have the time and resources to do so, we can absolutely offer you the opportunity to see it all. So, I don't know if you want to add anything about just like the seasonality of traveling, Dayron. You know, we tell our travelers November through April, but maybe you can speak a little bit more to the kind of weather patterns. And we know that it's always changing sometimes, but when, why is this the best time to travel, essentially?
I wouldn't know then, because that is usually up to each person. For example,
Mm,
I like to go to the beach in the summer. So for me,
mm-hmm.
it would be July and August. Yes, it is hot,
Okay.
but the beach is amazing. It's
Okay.
nice, it's welcoming, it is cool. So that is the time where most Cubans would actually go to the beach, like
Okay.
June, July, August, September. But for example, for all the type of travelers, they will go to the beach in the winter because it says that it's.
Right. For their winter.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember once a couple of travelers, it was hot. I said, "Well, let's go to the beach." He said, "No, no, 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 it's too hot to go to the beach." And I was like, "I mean, that's why we go to the beach because it's hot." So exactly, it depends.
Sure.
If you don't want to see too many tourists, then try to don't go before between, I would say, April and October. Those
Mm-hmm.
months, April,
Okay.
October. Avoid it this summer if it is too hot for you, but go the rest. But the thing is that usually, like the high season would be December, January, February.
Right.
That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
when you have the
Mm-hmm.
jazz festival. That is when you have the
Right.
cigar festival. That is when you have like even the movie festival. So it depends. It is what you want, what you
On
want.
what you're looking for. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. No, and I remember, you know, we went in September and we were, I mean, this photo, I mean, the beach, it was such a beautiful blue skies, so many beautiful sunsets. September can be a month where hurricanes happen. I know right as we were leaving, there was one coming in, so just something to note. But if you have a question, every itinerary is very detailed in that regard of like the best kind of recommendations. Also for building bridges when you would experience more kids to be around. So could you speak to that as well, Dayron, on the best seasonality for the building bridges trips specifically?
yeah, but that one it's a bit complicated because, for example, you would think that like we have our summer and we have the vacation, like time off, that is July and August. But then sometimes the kids they want to travel too,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to go to community projects in their vacation. They want to go to the beach. They want to spend the day at the beach. So while there's a lot of kids there, then there would be kids, but they would want to be.
Not as many.
It's like we
Yeah,
don't know that is difficult to control, to know.
right.
Sometimes the kids go to the community project after they come from school. Because then again, they have nothing much to do. And then of course, yeah, they want to go there, or that's what they do because they learn music and they have stuff over the weekends. Yeah, in the regular schedule. They learn how to play music, how to work with craftsmanship. Yeah, they learn these things. And it's good for them. But then again,
Mm-hmm.
like it is difficult to know because especially in the summer because
Okay, so July and August,
yeah,
you
yeah,
would say that was a
that
little
would be
bit more
most
difficult.
likely. Yes, yes, definitely to
Okay.
see more kids there. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I just wanted to take some time to also share some more recent testimonials. We've had, as Dayron said, some really busy seasons as the seasonality of the trips. You know, most of our trips operate December January, February, we have a lot of trips going out to Cuba. Shout outs to Claudia for all of the coordination that you do to get everyone ready to go. So I pulled some, we of course do surveys at the end of the trip, and I just wanted to pull out some really beautiful testimonies and share them. Sometimes on these calls we have alumni. Unfortunately, the timing didn't work out to have them actually on the call, but I thought I would take some of their text. One of them is Osmani was fabulous tour guide. He's incredible proud of Cuba, and it radiates in everything he shared with us. We learned so much about Cuba's history and the current economy and politics through his eyes. He's passionate about Cuba and it shows. I can't imagine a better tour guide. In Trinidad, he came over at night to teach us dominoes and we had a blast. Even though we didn't always understand the strategy, his expression when he played piece were priceless. Then he stayed and enjoyed an American game with us. What a treasure he is. That was from a trip for the celebration of arts and culture in January. Also, somebody wrote Angela Bailey, which is our boss in sales. We have Claudia, of course. We're very helpful in planning a customized family vacation for 3 generations. Claudia was timely and responsive to our many questions by phone or email. She knows so much about Cuba, having been there herself in March. Lastly, we used the emergency line, and Layla, our other colleague, was excellent too. And that was somebody from December from the Preserving Nature's Wonders tour. And then in January, we had our driver, Boris, and guide Kenya were excellent. Boris was super friendly and he took the time to connect with our 9-year-old son. Kenya was also friendly and super knowledgeable. She really helped me understand more about Cuban history and the plight of Cuban people. And then finally, wonderful experience in a country that is misunderstood by American history. Everyone should be able to experience Cuba on this trip. Joel and Juan Carlos, our driver, are excellent, fun, and well connected with Havana, making for very well planned experiences. And that was from our Cuba jazz trip. And there were so many to choose from. It was very hard to pick from the testimonials, but the team in Cuba has just been doing such an incredible job these past few months. So shout out to you, Dayron, and the team. All of the guides and drivers do really get shout outs. So you have to always pass that on to the team for us. But I thought I would just take a second to shout them out. Um, Also, you've mentioned a little bit about this, Dayron, just when it comes to the accommodation style. Of course, the jazz festival is kind of unique, but can you speak to, where we're staying and why these casas are so unique?
Well, the accommodation, it varies a lot. Depends on where
Mhm.
you are. Like Havana, you would expect higher quality in the accommodations, although in Trinidad you can find really good ones. Perhaps in Fuegos, but like Vinales, for example, you don't have great places there, but then again, it's a town in the middle of the mountain, so it's not quite the same thing. Either way, all of our accommodations they are like private. They have their own bed, of course. They have their own bathroom. They have their like a safety box. They have air conditioning. They have the things that they need. All good. They have breakfast included in every one of them. That is tastier as you go away from Havana, in my opinion. But everything is good. Everything is it's great places to go. Now the thing is that the sooner we get um,
Mm-hmm.
the trip,
Reservation.
we can
Mm-hmm.
book the reservation. We can get the best casas because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I mean we can get a casa right, like you guys know, overnight. Hey, we have a group for tomorrow, just booked. We have to get it tomorrow, and we do it tomorrow. But then again, it would not be. I mean, our options are more limited, of course, as if they had been like well in advance. That we say, okay, we can have this one, and then the traveler can actually say, oh yeah, this one is nice at times. But all of the causes are good. All are in great shape, maintained.
Mm-hmm.
The hosts are very friendly and very detail oriented in every one of them into doing or having the best option possible. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
No, definitely can vary, like you said, and I love that you showed that out. It is like with more time, we can better prepare for you. And there's I think over 30 casas that y'all will work with at least. So it's good to be able to, also build up the accommodations depending on the group style. Like if you're traveling with a multi-generation group, or you're on your own, we built the trip to those demographics. So it's really important that we can get those reservations as soon as possible. But they are so unique, you know, they're also one of a kind. I love this. This is the kitchen that I would eat my breakfast at every morning, and it's just so beautiful. And the history and the antiques and everything are really unique to the Cuban experience as well.
Totally, yes, definitely.
Wonderful. Well, I will hand it over to Claudia to just give an opportunity to talk a little bit more about the pre-departure support that we offer on our trips to Cuba. And then we will shortly be opening it up for Q&A. So if you have any questions, I did see one in there already, but if anyone has any other ones, feel free to write in and we'll get to them in a second. But for now, I'll hand it over to Claudia.
Yeah, I think it's important to talk about the pre-departure support because if you just Google how to go to Cuba as an American, you're gonna have a lot of questions. And I think the beauty of traveling with Discover Core is that I'm here to help you and answer all those questions, right? So once you book, I will send you a welcome email with all the details or information you need to be able to travel to Cuba. And you're gonna have access to this travel portal. So, for example, you need a visa. So we have all the step-by-step process for you to get this visa, which is really easy and simple. But it's way better when you have, a website that you can just go and check. If you have any questions, you let me know. Also, what you pack, right? It can be a little different than what you usually pack when you go to other destinations. So we have a packing list. We have an explanation of the currency and how you deal with money there. As you probably know, you cannot bring, I mean, you can bring, but your credit card and debit card will not work while in Cuba. So those are details that you must know and that I'll make sure you have all this information before your trip. And we also have a pre-departure call. So really close to your trip, around 10 days before your departure, we'll get you on the phone. We'll go step by step. We'll check all documents you need to bring, all packing list. And as I mentioned, I've been to Cuba, so I can also share my own experience. And I always say things that I forgot to bring, I will not let you forget. So yeah, we will definitely have that support for you before and then during your trip because we do have a 24/7 emergency contact as well if you need us, as you're going to the airport and everything.
Exactly. No, it's super crucial and so awesome. Yeah, I know as well, having worked with Discover Core as a pre-departure coordinator for this trip, there's a lot to go through. So it's amazing that you have Claudia there to just walk you through and make sure that you have everything you need. And I think that's a lot of the added benefit in having, you know, a company be able to facilitate this experience for you so that you can just go and be able to, you know, have a little bit more preparation and be able to have fun in the moment and engage with all of these amazing people that you're gonna meet. So I'm gonna open it up to questions now. We have Dayron here still on the call with us, so we either we one of us can answer any of your questions. But before, I'd love to just kind of comment on what's included because that's usually a question that we get. So you can obviously expect a local bilingual guide who's going to be with you the whole trip. So pick up and drop off at the airport and really everything in between. Cuba is unique. We do include all meals and, of course, drinkable water throughout the whole experience. Just given sometimes, I think there's actually one itinerary that there is one dinner on your own, but it kind of makes sense for the itinerary. So just note that it's always very clearly marked if there's anything that isn't included, but you can expect almost all meals. Um, and then, of course, comfortable and reliable transportation, any sort of admissions and entrance fees to the places that we're visiting. So the idea really is for you to not have to take out your wallet unless you are, you know, buying an alcoholic drink or, you know, in some souvenirs or tipping your guide or drivers, which Claudia mentioned. We also have, you know, the travel portal that can include currency and tipping information. And so what you need is essentially your flight. And I often get this question on the phone is like, okay, how do I do this? First, you sign up for it with us, and that's a $395 down payment. Once we have that down payment and we can guarantee your trip, so we need a minimum of 2 people to go to Cuba on our itineraries. So once we have guaranteed to run it, then you can safely purchase your flights. Once you've purchased your flights, and we will give you those arrival and departure times, they all live in the travel portal as well. Once you purchase your flights, then you can safely go ahead and apply for your visa because you'll need your flight number in order to apply for that visa. So that's kind of the flow, is sign up with us, then you can get your flights, then you get your visas, and then you work with Claudia to get ready for all of those other nitty-gritty details before departing. So visas are not included. Traveler's insurance is also not included. But medical insurance is. So essentially, if you're on the trip and you need support, you're going to be covered. But anything leading up to your trip that would prevent you from going, that's when you might want to include traveler insurance. And I can give you some recommended options as well. But I know a lot of people often have their kind of preferred companies. So similarly with flights, we also have a third-party provider that can help support on getting you flights if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, but we don't require you to use them. It's just a service that we offer. Okay. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. Let me just pull up our Q&A here. Somebody asked, what is the volunteer component at the Building Bridges trip? It's going to be with a 13-year-old. What volunteer opportunities would there be? We would be going in June. How many kids would be at the community center? So we actually hit on some of those points already, but I'm curious if either you, Claudia, or Dayron can speak a little bit more. I know that it can also vary when it comes to the volunteer opportunities because it depends on what's going on at the center. So, just to recap, Merlandio is this community-based sort of art center for kids that's all volunteer run. And so because it's volunteer run, depending on those volunteer leaders, what they are engaging with the kids and offering to the community will be like lending a helping hand. And as Dayron mentioned, it sounds like there's always sort of kids around, but the number can vary depending. But I don't know if either of you, Claudia or Dayron, want to chime in with a little bit more information.
I think Claudia was talking about it. Clau, can you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I also wrote down to her that, she can also get in touch with us directly to see how many days exactly we're going to be there on all those details. I think in terms of the time of the year, yeah, it really depends because as Dara mentioned, it's hard to know how many kids are going to be there at the time. But we go multiple days. So, if you go, you might go one day and there's less kids, and then you go on another day, there are more kids there. The activities are around art and music and some gardening as well. So they have different classes there, they're teaching the kids. And when I went, I was able to see some of the paintings that our travelers did, and then some of the paintings that the kids did also. So that was amazing. They also have some events at the project. So for example, sometimes they just go there to like play some music, for example. So that's not technically, volunteering, but it's part of the community and you can be there and you can watch. Some of our travelers sometimes want to go there to just like play chess or play something. So even if there are less kids, you're still like having this contact with community and the locals and everything. And also I think a difference between this itinerary and the others is that you're gonna be pretty close to the project. So you're not gonna be in Havana. It's what's called the neighborhood, Darren? I don't want to say wrong. It's Lawton. Yeah, okay. My Spanish is not the best one.
That was good. That was
So
good.
yeah, so you're gonna be in a different area, which is close to the project. So you're gonna go there to have breakfast. So it's a very, close experience to the community. You're really, exchanging that breakfast and you're around during the whole day. So I think those are some differences. Let us know if
Yeah,
we answer your question. But yeah, I put Lynne's email on there. So you can always just contact us directly and we can walk through the day by day in the itinerary as well.
absolutely. I also mentioned with anyone going on, I feel like this trip often attracts like a teacher or somebody who is really like kind of like open to, kind of like leading and supporting and whatever you know, whatever the community kind of is looking for. And also if you have things to share with them that you want to bring, right? Even when it comes to supplies, art supplies, or games, bringing those and being able to kind of like share that with the community, I think is where you're going to have also a really good experience. So just keep that in mind if you are considering the Building Bridges trip. And like Claudia said, happy to work with you one-on-one to make sure that this is a good fit for you and that this trip experience is everything that you're looking for. Doesn't look like we have any other questions, and I know we're getting to the top of the hour here as well. So we will wrap it up, but as Claudia mentioned, you can also email me personally. It's Lynne at DiscoverCore, that's Lynne, or info@DiscoverCore. All of those emails also go to me. So feel free to shoot me an email and ask me any other questions. And I just want to also give our gratitude to Dayron for joining us today. It means a lot to have our partners on the call and just provide that added layer, you know, being from the island yourself. So thank you for joining and always creating incredible experiences for our travelers.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. And Claudia, thanks always for the support on the pre-departure side. Hope everyone has a great weekend and enjoy your camping, Dayron.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, guys. Have a good
Yes,
weekend.
Bye,
yes.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.